Topper in MBA entrance exams? Join BYJU'S Exam Prep, CAT and MBA YouTube channel and watch serial 99 percentilers teaching you the tips and tricks.
Good morning, everyone. Very good morning. Welcome to BYJU'S Exam Prep. My name is Alpa Sharma and this is our editorial analysis. I hope I'm clearly audible and visible to everybody. Good morning. Very good morning. So I have something very interesting for you today. If you could first quickly confirm that I'm clearly audible and visible, and that's when I'll tell you what do I have for you today. Good morning, everyone. All good? Why is nobody replying? Yes, clearly audible and visible. Hi, Tanvi. Hi, Dia. Clearly audible and visible. I have a surprise for you today. What did I promise you in the last few classes? That I am planning to bring something new. Okay. And apart from, bringing the Aeon articles and the Guardian and the Hindu and various other sources, New York Times articles, I told you I'm planning something different as well. And that's exactly what we're going to be doing today. So, okay, I'll not tell you what that is. We'll quickly start off with the articles that I've brought. I brought two of them, okay? So I have two articles and the sources I'll not tell you. But I have two very important questions on each of the articles that you have to answer. First question is a para completion question, okay? And the second question is a summary question. So each of the articles that we discuss, we have a para completion question, a summary question. I think the second article also has a vocabulary question. I just randomly made it because I'm sure a lot of you would have asked me the meaning of the word. So I just made it into a question. And that's what we're going to be. Yes, Maitre, you got me right. That's what I brought today. That's what we're going to be doing. Good morning, everyone. Yes. I'm absolutely great. Absolutely great. So are you guys ready for it? Do you want to see the articles? No vocabulary. I haven't taken out any of the words. We'll understand it through the context. We'll understand it then and there when the word comes up. We might also discuss the tone. Summary questions are already there. We'll also discuss some inferences towards the end. Okay. So ready to start, everyone? But before I show you anything, meet our unstoppables of CAT 2021. You could also be one of those people. Your picture could be right here after CAT 22 happens. If you wish to be one of them, make sure you enroll yourself right away for our CAT 22 comprehensive program, where you train under the guidance of serial 99 100 percentilers. Make sure you're not late. Enroll yourself right now. So here we go. Here is the first article. That's the first paragraph. The second page has the second paragraph. Read this and send me it done when you're done. So I have everyone who's joined me right now. I have a summary question towards the end. So make sure you identify the summary. We'll talk about how to identify the summary answer in detail after we're done with the article. There's also a para completion question somewhere in between the passage. Okay. Here you go. And also tell me if you find this article a little familiar. Changing the slide. Second page, para completion options. The line has to come after this one. Hi, Om. Read the paragraph. What's your answer? Disha, what's your answer? Complete the paragraph. What should be the next line after as they could? Dia says A. Okay. Okay, Prats. What should be the next line? All right, Disha. Okay, Sai. Hi, Pratik. Please complete the paragraph. Please try to identify what could be the next line out of the 4 options. C, A, A. All right. Okay. So mostly it's a confusion between A and C. Let me give you some theory here. Okay. We'll take the class light and we'll aim at understanding how to find an answer to a para completion question. Though these questions aren't asked anymore, do we still practice these? If yes, why do we practice these? How do we get the correct answer to this one as well? Okay, I've got 2 such articles today. See guys, while you are reading an extract, and usually the extracts that appear in CAT and other MBA entrance examinations are pretty lengthy, I always keep saying that you need to know the art of skimming. Okay, and I am a big promoter of the ideology of skimming, because if you don't skim, if you read each and every word, each and every line, you just cannot finish the entire paper within the stipulated time. So you can't read every word, and your ability to skim will definitely get better when you know how to anticipate. So anticipation is, okay, this is what this paragraph talks about. I can anticipate what the next few lines could be, what the remaining paragraph could be. I have understood this paragraph with the first 2 lines only. I don't have to read the remaining paragraph. This comes with anticipation, the thought that what could follow in the paragraph. A para completion question, though not so popular these days in CAT, yet will help you how to anticipate what's going to follow, and thus help you eliminate a lot of unnecessary information and details that's there in the passage and save you a lot of time. Okay, so we will try to practice. Obviously, summary-based questions are very, very important. We're going to be practicing those. We will also be practicing anticipation a lot through para completion questions. Now, how do we find the answer to a para completion question? So there are a few tricks, a few logics which I can explain to you in a little brief here. I think almost everyone either says an A or a C. So we can probably discuss these 2 before everything else, before B and D is discussed, which is outrightly eliminated by all of you. A para completion question has to be solved only and only by option elimination. If you are unable to eliminate options, you cannot fixate upon one answer. That usually doesn't happen a lot with summary-based questions, because since you've already read the entire passage, the summary will be there in your minds. But with a para completion question, it's completely based on an assumption, and that assumption may be incorrect as well. You can't hold the author's hands that, okay, dude, this is what you have to write in the next line. Thus, you have to eliminate every option. Now, the question is, how do we eliminate options? So, see, para jumble questions, you know how to solve them, right? You make mandatory pairs. So I know A and C will come together because these 2 lines talk about the same thing. Similarly, a para completion question will also focus on making a mandatory pair. A mandatory pair between the second last line that's given to us and then another option. So any one of the options that makes a pair with the penultimate line given will 1 be your answer. 2, all those options that violate the tone of the passage, the theme of, rather the tone of the paragraph, the theme of the paragraph, the scope of the paragraph will be eliminated. Did you guys get the fundamental of making a mandatory pair here? Yes or no? Just send me an answer here, everyone. Did you guys get the fundamental of making a mandatory pair? Because the line that I've highlighted, but companies, one option that's going to be the correct answer has to make a pair with this highlighted line in the paragraph already given. It makes sense, right? Okay, I'll wait for your answer for a second. I'll wait for your answers, because if you did not get it, I'll have to explain that again. Okay, yes, you've got it. Cool. Now let's discuss about option elimination through tone, theme and scope. Every paragraph in a longer passage will have a theme, an individual theme. A bigger picture is the theme of the whole passage, but every paragraph will talk about something. The moment the idea is changed, the author will write a new paragraph. So let's look at D. Let us hope that architect's next idealistic impulse will be rather more successful. I'm hoping about the future. Is there any idea talking about the future in the paragraph? Is there any hinting of what a future may hold in the paragraph? If no, that actually violates my tone and theme of the paragraph. Scope violation is, okay, the paragraph talks about the cubicles that are made and the wall-free spaces that are there in the modern co-working spaces. And if, for example, the paragraph talks about Arvind Kejriwal promising free electricity somewhere, it's violating my scope, right? So that's not going to be the correct answer for sure. But option D completely violates the tone and the theme of the passage. It doesn't talk about the future. But then if it doesn't talk about the future, can we eliminate option C by the same logic? Think of it again, everyone. Devansh, can we eliminate C by the same logic? Let's read this sentence. But companies took up the idea less out of a democratic ideology. The previous paragraph said that wall-free offices, and rather an office that had walls, was considered a fascist office, an office that actually believed in hierarchy and a very authoritative one. This is my office. I am the boss. You're not allowed to be around me. A very authoritative one. Somebody like a dictator. So people considered, these architects considered an office with walls a fascist one. And thus they tried to eliminate walls, wall-free offices. But companies made the offices wall-free, not because they wanted the offices to be democratic, but that they had a desire to pack in as many workers as they could. So if there were no walls, people could sit just close to each other and many more people could be fit in to a smaller confined space. So the idea was different now, not because they wanted a democratic office. Okay, so let's look at C. Today, many companies are even reverting to the pre-cubicle rows of desks, now called pods, to make them sound vaguely futuristic. Does it link to the idea that more people could be fit in and that's why they removed the walls? Does C talk about the same idea the last line talks about? How many of you still stick with C? I'll wait for your answer, because the penultimate line, but, says the company owners did not remove walls because they wanted an open space, a democratic one, everybody could reach anyone. They just removed the walls because they wanted more people to sit in. Can C be a mandatory pair to the penultimate line? Okay, Diya, I'll keep my answer pending. Devansh, and then I have so many other people. Pranav now changes the answer. Does A furthermore explain this line? It does. So as they said, companies removed walls not because they wanted a democratic picture, but they removed walls because they just wanted to put in more and more people. A justifies that that's exactly what they were doing. They made long rows of desks back to back, putting in more and more people, clerks, white collared, like an assembly line. There were so many people sitting in. That justifies the ideology why companies took up wall-free workspaces. The correct answer is an A. Yes, it shows you the implementation of the ideas. Let's talk about B. Cubicles were interior designers' attempt to put some soul back in. Oh, that was written in the first paragraph. The story ends there. Now we're talking of why did organizations, companies adopt a sitting area without walls. We have to justify that. So what did we learn? In anticipation, in para-completion, we need to actually find a pair, a set of sentences that either are justification of each other or they go along well together. That's why the correct answer here is an A. Okay, cool everyone. Now let's move on to the next page. Okay, read the page, send me done because the next page has a summary question. Read this page everyone. Divansh, is it for the let the cat out of the bag? Okay, solve this everyone. Okay, I'll explain that again, Anna. And I'll explain that again for you. Let's go back, okay? So, Anna, what did I teach you? I taught you two things. One, this sentence has to make a pair with one of the sentences, okay? According to you, C makes a pair with this sentence. What does this sentence talk about? This sentence says that before this, the entire passage said that architects made a space that was sans walls, free of walls, because they wanted an open culture. They wanted to break the contextual walls by breaking the physical walls where everyone could reach everywhere. But companies broke the walls, the physical walls, the cubicles, but they did not break the walls for making it a democratic setup. They broke the walls because it would create more space and more people could be accommodated there. They could save a lot of cost that way. More people sitting in the same space that was confined initially. C says today many companies are even reverting to the pre-cubicle rows of desk. Pre-cubicle. Okay. So something that happened before that, now called pods to make them sound vaguely futuristic. If the companies are reverting to something that does it justify the fact that more people could be accommodated here where I have pods? So it has a negative connotation, similarly like A has, right? And that's exactly why you're confused. But then if I have to choose between A and C, which line justifies the fact that more people could be accommodated here? Okay, this says we went to the pre-cubicle areas where there were rows, okay, and now they're called pods. So you probably have some sitting space for yourself, but that doesn't justify why the organizations resorted to wall-free spaces because they wanted to add in more people. It doesn't justify that fact. For that matter of fact, I'll have to choose A over C because A justifies how more people were taking up spaces. That's exactly what this penultimate line suggested. Anna, does it make sense now? All right. Isn't A right in terms of the tone of the article too? Absolutely, it does. Okay. All right. So read this page, send me done, then I'll show you the next page for the summary based article. Now, see, this is the line of the next paragraph. I picked up lines from the same passage so that you were confused. That's exactly what the examiner does, by the way. Okay, changing the slide. Read this page, answer the the summary based question. Guys, just a minute. All right, what's your answer? What's your answer? We have very close options. B, all right. Okay, Disha. C, B. You now know why the passage looked so familiar. CAT 2019. Confused between B and C? All right. Dia, correct me if I'm wrong. You're targeting the IP MAT exam, right? Or you're targeting CAT? What's your target? Sai says A, Amrit says C. Okay. Now let me give you some theory. Let me teach you something. And we'll talk about this a lot these days. Summary based questions, main idea, theme, they're same. Okay, they ask you the same thing. They ask you answer to one simple question. The question is, why has the passage been written? So summary is, why has the passage been written? Main theme, gist, structure, tone, all of these actually somewhere revolve around this question, why has the passage been written? Okay, now oh, all right. Okay. Back to it. So, how do we find an answer to this? I could talk endlessly about the summary or the theme based questions. But here, since we don't have a lot of time, I'll give you a few pictures. One, your summary or your theme always, if you're stuck between two close options, it always has to be a bigger, Dia knows it, a bigger picture. Now, what's a bigger picture? I'll use this term a lot of times. A bigger picture is basically 100% B, okay, A and C. Nobody says a D, but okay, I'll still eliminate that. What's a bigger picture? A bigger picture is one option that encompasses every aspect of the passage. An option that's a narrow one that speaks of a few parts of the passage and eliminates other parts will be an inappropriate summary. So let's understand it this way. If I have to write down the summary or the main theme or the gist of the passage, it is going to be something in the writer's head that he is portraying in the entire paragraph that he has. So while portraying the idea, everything the writer writes in the passage, it will be in support of that summary only. I'll repeat, everything written in the passage, does it support this option or this option or this option? Which option encompasses everything written in the passage? That will be your correct answer. So with close options, see which one of the options covers up the whole picture. Apart, not just covering up some instances mentioned. Those instances mentioned are only going to be narrow answers and thus incorrect ones. So let's have a look at A first. A says wall-free office spaces did not quite work. We know they did not work because organizations used wall-free spaces for a different purpose. Not for the purpose it was meant for by the architects. Yes, so it did not quite work. But so is the case with option B. Okay. And C says it could have worked. That also means it did not work. So we don't have any difference between A, B and C in the first half. Let's read A in detail again. Wall-free offices did not quite work out as desired and therefore cubicles came into being. Wall-free offices did not work. Correct. But is the passage focusing on the fact why cubicles came into being? Is that why the passage is written, to showcase why cubicles came into being? A summary has to answer why a passage is written. Is a passage written because he wants to show why cubicles came into being? No, no, no. A is wrong. Maitre, Amrit, Om, Sai, are you convinced why A is not our answer? It did not work out, yes, but passage isn't written why cubicles came into being. Written because he wants to say why cubicles came into being. Okay, so A is an incorrect answer. Let's have a look at D. Wall-free office spaces did not quite work out as companies didn't believe in democratic ideology. That's not the reason why it did not work out that way. They possibly believed in democratic ideology, but that's not the reason why they created wall-free offices. They created wall-free offices because they wanted to accommodate many, many people. So this is an incorrect reason. The passage doesn't state this reason. An incorrect one. It actually violates the premise of my passage. D, incorrect. So C maybe? Okay, Bishop, let's look at C. I actually love this class today. I'm having a lot of fun. Instead of just merely reading extracts, we're using our brains a lot today. Wall-free office spaces could have worked out the way the utopian inventors intended had companies cared for workers' satisfaction, and wall-free office spaces did not quite work out the way the utopian inventors intended. Okay, when we say utopian inventors and their intention, utopian inventors were the architects. What their intention was to make an office space that's more like a democratic one, to break the shambles and the walls of the hierarchy in the society. And to break that hierarchy in the society, we need to break the hierarchy in the organization as well. So that's why these inventors had a very good thought in the mind while they created the wall-free spaces. So it's okay to call them utopian inventors. Absolutely correct. So utopian inventors, correct. B says wall-free offices did not quite work out the way the utopian inventors intended as they became tools for exploitation of labor. Could be because we are fitting in more people and that's exploitation of people. Instead of giving them more space to work freely and the idea of a democratic office space, they were being exploited here. More and more people being fit in. And C says wall-free offices could have worked out the way their utopian inventors intended had companies cared for workers' satisfaction. I need to look at what my tone here is. Is my tone in the whole passage to explain why something did not work out or how something could have worked out had they done something else? I'll explain that again. What's the tone of the passage? Is the tone of the passage why something did not work out as intended, or is my tone how they could have done better by doing something else? Now you choose your answer. Is it B or C? I did not think it would get so tricky for you guys. Look at the tone. How is the whole passage written? You have your answer then, my child. Exactly. So our correct answer is B. No, Prats, it's not. So basically, exploitation of labor is one term that covers up a bigger picture of how more people would fit in. And it was not only white collar people, later on it became clerks as well. More and more people just started getting in. So it's one generic term, not an extreme one, that defines how this positive ideology worked negatively. The correct answer is a B, undoubtedly a B. So one lesson to learn when you're stuck between two close options. See, why has the passage been written? Answer this question in your head. Why has the passage been written? And which option shows you a bigger picture? A bigger picture. That is, that encompasses everything. So this is how we eliminate. The correct answer is a B. All right? Yeah. All right. That's it. Do you want to see the next passage? Not as easy as this one is. Do you like this methodology of taking classes? This question was a tiny paragraph that appeared in 2019, which I made into a bigger question. Okay. Uh, of course, Devansh, yes. And what's the difference between the two options? Yes, Dia. Dia, you are a regular child of my classes. That's visible in the things that you say. Absolutely, yes, Prats. Guys, do you like this methodology of classes? Do you want me to take more of these classes? If you do, please comment under my video after the class ends, okay? So that I know that you like such classes, that I can, because these take a lot of hard work, okay? A lot of homework needs to be done for such classes. So I'll get some boost, okay, that you like it and you benefit it, and I need to keep doing this. Let's have a look at the next passage. Passage number 2. Read this page, send me a done, and then answer the synonym of incongruent according to the context. I'm glad. Thank you. If you're done reading this, answer the meaning of the word, the synonym according to the context. Yeah, the correct answer has to be an A. See, incongruent is something that doesn't go well with something else. It just doesn't fit together. Okay. So incongruent, the correct meaning has to be incompatible. Yeah, incompatible. Doesn't go well together. Showing you the next slide. The next page has a para completion question. Read this one. No, no, not this one. Here. Read this one and complete the paragraph. Yeah. One line that comes here. Okay, Dia? Kashish, it relates to the sound. Okay? All right, Prads. D. Oh, that's tricky. You guys are confused. I get a pretty sadistic happiness today. It's been a while I haven't given you questions. I could only explain things every time. Today I get to see. Sadly, it's a sadistic happiness that I'm getting. You know, I'll tell you why am I happy. Because when there's confusion, that initiates conversation. And through conversation, we learn a lot. So it's necessary to have conversations, right? Okay, let's see which line will complete the paragraph. What did we learn in the previous page? A mandatory pair. Okay, so any option that makes a pair with this line will be a correct answer. Let me see who got this correct. The correct answer was found by Prads, Amrit, Tanvi, and Arbaz. The correct answer here is an A. How a clear mandatory pair? It says this entire McGurk effect is based on an assumption. The assumption that either the conditions are constant or the perception is accurate. Only then the McGurk effect is going to work. And there's an assumption. These are the assumptions that are always made. If these assumptions are true, McGurk effect will always be a very effective one. However, if these assumptions aren't taken, this effect can lead to erroneous conclusions. If there are no consistencies in the conditions are variable, or if the perceptions are wrong, it can lead us to wrong conclusions. Erroneous conclusions are wrong conclusions. So A makes a mandatory pair with the penultimate line. Let's eliminate other options. Option B also says, however. It can make a mandatory pair here, right? So basically it's a conjunction here, which is used here as well. But B cannot be the answer because this assumption is not a vague one. This assumption rather comes in support of the fact that McGurk effect is an effective tool. You remember the first paragraph, he said it's a powerful multisensory illusion. It's a very powerful tool. He supports the tool created by these people. The tool, that's the McGurk effect, right? So, an option that calls the assumptions on which the McGurk effect is dependent on vague does not talk in support of the tone of the passage. This violates my tone. C says the real McGurk effect arises due to multisensory integration resulting in altered auditory percept. That probably would have been a line out of the first paragraph where it explained what this effect is. And how does it arise? It's an explanation. This paragraph doesn't talk about explanation. It talks about things it is dependent on, assumptions the author is taking. D says, in general, the strength of the McGurk effect is taken to increase when the proportion of responses according to the acoustic component decreases. Again, that's another explanation. This line probably could have been given here. Okay, but it doesn't justify what assumptions are taken. A justifies the assumptions taken, and if assumptions not taken correctly, it can lead us to wrong results. So these assumptions are very, very important. All right. A is telling impact of assumptions. No, Anna. A is telling if these assumptions are not taken correctly, then things can go wrong. So this entire McGurk effect is dependent on a few assumptions. Okay, I'll give you an example to understand what this whole paragraph talks about. Okay, I ask you to read passages and come back to me tomorrow with words that you did not understand. The words that you give me tomorrow will be dependent on an assumption that I make that you've read newspapers. Okay, because If I don't make that assumption, I'll not be able to explain the words to you. And the assumption has to be true, that you've read the newspapers that I've recommended. If this is not true, then probably my conclusion is going to be a wrong one. That's exactly the relationship between the given question and option A. Alright, the correct answer is an A. Let's move to the last paragraph. This is the last paragraph, and tell me what the summary here could be. CAT 2021. Here you go. Oh, by the way, did you not like the session yet? Do it right now. Easy. Actually, the question is easy. Okay, Prats? All right. Okay. Everyone says it, Okay, Minerva. Everyone says it, Okay. See, you remember the first paragraph? It started with what, who were the founders, what this effect is, what is the name of the effect, and what all things the effect is dependent upon. And the whole passage is written in a tone of explaining something, right? A description of what this effect is, who founded it, and how is it an excellent tool, right? So everybody, if you say D, then I'll probably not explain anything else to you. The correct answer is a D. It says that visual speech, when mismatched with auditory speech, you see something but you hear something else. It can result to an entirely different message. You can read the consonant as something else which it isn't, and this creates an illusion. This illusion is known as the McCrack effect. So I've been reading McGurk effect. Sorry, reading it wrong all the while. So this is basically a definition that's encompassing all the ideas mentioned in the passage. Correct answer is certainly a D. Since everyone is marked a D, I'll not probably explain any other option to you. So that's all for today, everyone. And I hope you've learned many things today. I hope you've had a great time attending this session today. If you think it was a beneficial one, make sure you comment under my video. I'll get some boost to work harder to do this again. And don't leave the session without liking and sharing and subscribing to the channel. And please share my video as well. Please follow us on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, Telegram, and download our app on Google Play. Thank you so much, everyone. I shall see you again on Tuesday. Exactly, Prats. Yes. And I can't miss out on that. That's the answer is T. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a very good day, good weekend as well. Work really hard. God bless you.